So now that the One Piece anime has switched to a seasonal model and went on a 6-month hiatus, is the pacing better for the new Elbaf arc? No, not really. But that was to be expected, right? Back in October when they announced the hiatus, they literally said they were going to be focusing on adapting one chapter per episode. The point of this hiatus was not to up the pacing of the One Piece anime. It was to up the quality of the One Piece anime. But I do have to give you a spoiler alert up through the most recent episodes of the anime 1162. If you haven't watched that far, then scroll on. The One Piece story has gotten pretty crazy and the demand for high quality episodes is going up. And if we're being honest, Elbaf is nothing but banger chapter after banger chapter. So they're gonna need to be able to bring in the big dogs for as many of those episodes as possible, which also means they're gonna need more time to create those episodes, which is why we went on that 6-month break and now we're switching to a seasonal model. And honestly, even though we're only adapting one chapter per episode, I feel like the chapters have been filled with a lot more information, a lot more action, a lot more content in general. And on top of that, I think the animation team is doing a great job of expanding upon these moments that we've gotten from the manga. Personally, I feel like Legoland in the anime is significantly better than it was in the manga. To be fair, this is not the most exciting start to an arc, and a lot of people struggle with it in the manga week to week, and people are struggling with it in the anime week to week. But I think the anime did a better job of showing the scale of Elbaf and specifically this Lego world than the manga did. And watching this all moving and alive was a much more enjoyable way to watch a relatively lackluster intro to this massive arc. They were able to let some of the less combative Straw Hats have their moment and get some impeccable animation, and I honestly think moments like these make it all worth it. The way they teased Loki by showing what Luffy was sensing there on Elbaf. So overall, would I say the pacing is fixed? No. But that being said, I do think it's matured to a point where it's not nearly as bad as it was in Wano and previous arcs before that. We are getting a consistent amount of information at a very high quality at this point. And we also get to see other Straw Hats be able to shine because they are able to get the budget that is normally only allocated to like Luffy and Zoro. So while yes, One Piece still has a pacing issue and probably will always have a pacing issue, I honestly just don't find it that bad at this point. Maybe that's just because I've already watched 1,000+ episodes of this in a worse form. But as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is the pacing still abysmal or has it become more tolerable?